My channel looks horrible, and in this video I'm going to tell you what I decided to do about that, because there has been a thing. This video is about something. This video is about a change to some extent that I would like to inform you about. Maybe you've even noticed it as well. But first, I think it's really interesting to talk about the idea of where thumbnails come from, and also the idea behind thumbnails, how I approach it, and what sort of to do when you're doing that. First of all, I have 1,000 videos on this YouTube channel, which is a lot of videos. It's a lot, and that means that I've made a lot of thumbnails, because essentially every single video that I've ever made has a thumbnail associated with it that I had to design. Design is a strong word, but you know what I mean. I came to this revelation, actually, where making a thumbnail is not actually about the design of the thumbnail. Does that make sense? Like, the technical details of the thumbnail are unimportant. You know, how you crop out an image, how you sort of, like, all of it contributes to the overall perception of quality to do with the video, but it's not important when it comes to getting an idea across for the thumbnail. If anything, low effort thumbnails are kind of more appreciated nowadays with this like whole change in YouTube, because they're authentic and they come across as more relatable, more personable. And I believe that the quality of your videos should be represented by the quality of the thumbnail. And I think I make very good videos. I like the videos that I'm making. Obviously, I'm a streamer, which means I'm inherently a lazy human being. But for a streamer, I put a lot of effort into these videos. I edit all of them by myself. I make the thumbnails. I think of the titles. I do this stuff. I do the thing. And up until yesterday, I have made all of my thumbnails, well, not all of my thumbnails, most of my thumbnails using free software. Some earlier videos I had used Photoshop for, which was definitely obtained illegally, completely 100% legal. No illegal activity happened when acquiring. I think you get the point. Most of the videos I had made up until this point had been made in Paint.net, which is a free piece of software, and it's a good piece of software. I also used GIMP earlier, but I moved to Paint.net, which is kind of a weird decision, but let me explain it. I think that you can make any thumbnail you want inside of Paint.net. I truly believe that. With just the right tools, the right plugins, the right knowledge about alternative ways to do things, to create things, you can absolutely make the most gorgeous looking thumbnail in the world using a free software like Paint.net. That is not the issue. The main reason these free pieces of software are different from paid pieces of software is the workflow. For example, in Paint.net, everything is destructive, and I would visualize this, but I'll visualize it. This is Paint.net, and let's say I want to add some text. I'll go here, add a new layer, I'll select the text tool, I'll type something, and then, you know, this is it. This is destructive, this is permanent, you cannot change this. So like if I wanted to change the font, for example, I would have to make a new layer, I would have to go to the text tool again, and then here inherently, as I'm writing the text, I need to pick a new font. That's how you do it in Paint.net. And like, that's fine, you know, you can get around it. You can make new layers, you can hide other layers, and then, you know, compare them side by side by enabling them and disabling them. That's like the workflow that I used up until this point, and I kind of appreciated and learned to adapt to. But yesterday, I decided to upgrade to something a little bit more high quality. So I balled out some money, and I bought this piece of software called Affinity Photo. This is Affinity Photo. This is not an advertisement in any way. Believe me, they would not sponsor me. This is great, and it's essentially just like Photoshop. I got this because there was like a sale going on, and also I got like a discount code. So it cost me like £30 for a one-time purchase, as opposed to Photoshop, which is like a subscription service where you have to pay 10 quid a month or something around that. I decided not to go for that and decided to just get this instead. And essentially why I included all of that build up in the beginning of this video is because I really want to hammer in the point that you don't need pieces of software like this to make good thumbnails. You don't. You absolutely don't. But I've noticed that some of the workflow aspects of using Paint.net are just plain frustrating. I already showed you one. It was the text destructivity thing. So, for example, here, I can just type in text normally. I can choose a font, adjust the size of it, and after I've made the layer, after I've made the decision about what text I want to use, I can change it. I can change the font if I want to, and that makes working and comparing and making fine changes with your thumbnails so much easier. And it might seem like such a minuscule little thing that doesn't really matter, but I've used Paint.net for years and I really kind of missed this, and that sort of fuels the decision behind buying this piece of software. And you might be wondering, if you know anything about free photo editing software, why don't I just use GIMP? It's a free alternative to Photoshop that's really popular. So why don't I just use that? Well, the problem with GIMP is that the issue isn't that text is destructive and you can't edit it afterwards. The issue with GIMP, and I won't visualize it here because it kind of it makes sense either way, is that the effects that you put on your things, let's say I wanted to add like a drop shadow on this text, in GIMP, those are destructible. So it's like, with the free options that are available right now, the popular ones, the good ones, everything is destructive, right? Did I use the word destructible before? I meant to say destructive. And here, if I like want to add a glow or a shadow or something to my text, I can change it. You know, I can go here, do some other stuff, and then go back, disable it, and see how it looks without it. And I think that's such a good thing workflow wise from now on that I will be utilizing for my thumbnails. So what you might notice in the channel as a result of this is maybe the thumbnails will look a little bit better because I'll be willing to spend a bit more time on them. Maybe they'll be higher quality. I've already went back and updated some of the thumbnails I had on other videos, on older videos. Well, not old videos, but like slightly more recent ones. Just to like try and learn the software, test it out. Yeah, I think this had a different thumbnail. This I just made in Paint.net just to like see if I sort of liked a more like fancy editing style or whatever, photo editing style. This one is the newest edition. I made this in Affinity Photo. Again, you can do all of this in Paint.net. That's I already explained. That's not the problem. And also this, you know, I made that just for fun, just to sort of test it out. And I kind of like this. You know, this is not saying that I will be using this style from now on and, like usual, sort of change my mind after 2 weeks. But what I am saying is that this is fun. And I think it's important to have a bit of fun with YouTube. Obviously, for some people, the most joy they get out of making a video is, you know, making the actual content, focusing on the details, you know, just making the video in itself as good as possible so they don't feel the need to put a lot of effort into the thumbnails or anything. My videos all the time are like stream clips, you know, and that's just sort of the content I have on my YouTube channel, so why not spend a little bit more time on the thumbnails, make them a bit nicer from time to time. You know, this is not to say I will consistently be making like amazing thumbnails. Like the thumbnail for this video is probably just going to be a picture of my face because that's sort of the trend with this YouTube channel. And it's also something I stole from Moist Critical, but we don't talk about that. Oh, I'm kidding. Yeah, we can't talk about it. It's like, it's just because I want to, you know, like it looks good. This is the final point that I want to talk about. And this is a broader point when it comes to software buying and licensing and stuff like that. It sucks if you want to get a piece of software and realize it is only available under a subscription model. I cannot stress this enough. The subscription model sucks and companies should change it. For example, Adobe only, like they used to have a one-time purchase model for Photoshop, for example, and all of a sudden they changed it so that you have to do a subscription for it. And it's like, people aren't willing to do that. That's, damn it, like maybe they get more revenue because of it, but as a customer, that is so unappealing. And just the final thing I want to mention in this video is that I respect the fuck out of companies like Serif who actually, you know, seem to care about their customers a little bit more, or at least like take a different marketing approach to separate themselves away from Adobe. Either way, it is so much better for the customer to be able to buy a piece of software for one fee and just own it forever. You know, I'm not into like, I used to like pirate Adobe when I was 10 years old and stuff. That's like something that, you know, you might be jumping to straight away. Like, oh, why don't you just pirate the software? That's like up to your own decision. I decided to stop that and just only start using free software or software that I've actually paid for. And Affinity is like, by default, it's like, by default, normally it's 70, wait, I'm going to look it up. Yeah, normally when it's not on sale, it's £70. This sale doesn't happen often, but recently I just noticed that it was half off. And also I got like a discount code for it, so I got it for just like £30. And that's awesome. That's £30 for a really advanced, good piece of software that is very comparable to Photoshop that they just let you have forever. That's incredible. And they do the same exact thing with DaVinci Resolve, which I just use for free because the free version is amazing. But also, like, the studio version of DaVinci Resolve is like £200 as a one-time fee, and you don't have to pay a subscription for it. That's awesome. That's amazing. And if they want to like charge for updates in the future, that's completely fine, and the buyer should be left to their own discretion when it comes to that. But it shouldn't be a subscription service. That sucks. That is so bad. And it seems like only Adobe are doing this with their software. I looked at the pricing model of Sony Vegas, and it's £200 for a forever license. DaVinci Resolve is £200 for an entire license forever. You can just use it forever. Those might not be precise numbers. I'm just going off the top of my head, but that's sort of what I recall. Also, in audio engineering, we have a similar problem with Avid. Avid, if you don't know, makes Pro Tools, which is the industry standard software used for making music. It's thankfully shifting away now, I think, in the new modern landscape with better choices. But Avid also charges monthly for you to be able to use Pro Tools, the industry standard for music production, which you essentially need, like in the current landscape, you need to know how to use if you want to work around studios in the world. Like, that's stupid. That is insane. So I apologize for the rant, but if you made it this far into the video, I would like to leave you with a list of software in various different creative domains that actually have a sensible pricing model, and you should totally just learn how to use instead of the more costly subscription model mainstream stuff. With raster photo editing and things like YouTube thumbnail design, Affinity Photo 2 is a great choice. It is very similar to Photoshop, it just doesn't have like the AI features. For video editing, I've looked around and DaVinci Resolve is the best choice. It even has a free version that you can use completely normally with just, you know, some of the effects missing and a few rendering options missing, like higher resolution ones. And in audio engineering and music production, learn Reaper. By the way, I feel like I should mention just here that I'm not sponsored by any of these companies or I'm some sort of massive consumer or whatever. These are just literally the most cost-effective options that I've found, and I've looked at this stuff a lot. Anyway, about Reaper, it has a 60-day evaluation period that is actually endless. You can just use it forever if you want to, like WinRAR. I don't know if they would like me saying that, but who cares? I'm not sponsored by them. And it has two licenses, a personal license for $60 only and a commercial license for like $200. That is great. That is so sensible and so good that they are doing that. I don't know how else to put this into words. That is just support them, just give them your money, please. When it comes to other domains like vector graphics, I don't know much about that, but those are the three that I can actually give you a good opinion about. And if you're not a creative person or someone who's interested in this at all, I'm just happy you're here and still listening to this video. That's where I'll end it here for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.